All right, let's get back to the swing of things. It is the second month of 2024, the first day of February. I can't believe it's already 1 month knocked out of our belt in 2024. So time is flying by. And we all know what's going on in 2024. I have to read around and things and can't really say too much because we're being heavily censored on BombTube and a lot of platforms. So, in that note, we all know what's going on with hundreds of tractors rebelling against the NWO, and the farmers are taking control. So we will see. Oh, my dog's barking. What is going on in right now?
Tractors during the blockade of Paris. Here we saw dozens arriving to join a column that already contained many more tractors.
So the tractors,
they have brought this motorway to a standstill. Normally a frenetic route into the nearby capital, now completely blocked. These farmers have driven their tractors more than 200 miles to get here to protest about rising costs, falling income and burdensome bureaucracy. Mathieu is a local grain farmer, angry with both his government and the red tape of the European Union.
We're applying pressure on the government and President Macron and Europe. There is no longer any harmony. The UK left Europe, and now there's talk of Ukraine joining. If we did a survey today in France, maybe the French...
My dog is barking.
He says cheap imports from Ukraine have hit farmers' income and lowered food standards.
We understand that Ukraine is at war.
Yeah, excuse me, my dog is barking. He's probably seeing a squirrel, and either that or just pretty excited. Was at the door, so you know how dogs are. We have dogs orders. But anyway, let's proceed.
Proclaims, tired but still determined.
Yeah.
For years, French farmers said that nobody had listened to their complaints. And now, well, this is what direct action looks like. Stopping roads, blockading the capital, and threatening to starve the people of Paris.
Paris is feeling the strain. The city's vast fresh produce market in Rungis is protected by armoured vehicles and riot police. The French government announced a list of concessions and reassurances about enforcing controls on those imports from Ukraine.
Notre agriculture est une force et notre fierté aussi.
The Prime Minister told farmers that they are the strength and pride of the nation and that they have his unwavering support.
Wow.
France is not alone, with farmers' protests now spreading across Europe. These in Italy and also in Belgium. Others are happening in Germany, the Netherlands and beyond. But in France, it is the image of Paris under siege that is so potent. An army of tractors is not easily ignored. Adam Parsons, Sky News,
wow.
Paris.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second because let's see what's going on with my dog. He's barking like crazy. Right, I had to take care of my dog here. He was barking a little bit too much. Family is over, and now he is okay. Just give him some water and some food, and it's okay. But anyway, we're going to head down to watch the Timcast, one of his channels, actually, yeah, and on his channel. Stating that he says that the border convoy heading to Texas has called for civil war. But let's see what's going on right there, because there is a big convoy coming up very soon to head down to Texas where the truckers and whoever the Patriots are. But all I know is that it's big and it's ready to go. But anyway, let's listen to Timcast and his channel. Okay.
We love NBC News. They are crackpot far leftists. But sure, a group that referred to itself as God's Army said it was planning 3 peaceful assemblies on Saturday. The convoy has attracted only a small number so far, well, like 12 people, I think. They say it's a trucker convoy of self-described patriots headed toward the U.S. border with Mexico. They've expressed violent rhetoric before. You see.
but they don't give examples.
They don't give
They
examples.
never give
Trust
examples,
us.
nor
It's,
do-
it's fine.
It's like when they say that they have specific tweets that are bad, and they never actually include the tweets in the article.
Tweet, tweet, tweet.
Do
Beep,
not.
beep, beep, beep.
This is why I agree with James Lindsay. James Lindsay said, "Do not go down there."
Oh yeah.
I agree. I think you go to Texas, stay away from the border. Let
Yeah.
Greg Abbott do his job. We've already learned today from a field reporter who's actually been there that what Greg Abbott has set up has massively worked. You were saying before it's bedlam, and then once the National Guard comes in, now it's 4 to 6, like
Which is an insane contrast.
single digits from 10,000. I think was 10,000 the whole border though, or was
So it's in certain they break it up into sectors.
Yeah.
When I was down there, they were breaking records every single month. So you had thousands coming through. It wasn't like 10,000 all at once. You never see any crossings like that, but you
Well,
do
per
see
day.
thousands per day. Sometimes.
Oh, Lord.
as soon as the National Guard of Texas takes over, it has mostly solved the problem. If people show up and get in the way, you're getting in the way of the guys winning. It's like, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Especially because it looks like NBC is trying to prime normies to expect violence and calls for civil war. So do not give them an opportunity to false flag.
And almost likely be down there covering whatever this turns into. But I don't really see it going very far. I mean, I saw a Fox News hit the other day where they said 700,000 vehicles were on their way, which I don't know where they came up with that number. You know, I've been in contact with people in the convoy.
Yeah.
It isn't happening. That's not how big they are. Yeah, you have a few thousand people heading down, but there's also 3 different endpoints. So they're going to be split up between 3 different endpoints in different sectors of the border. So I'm not expecting, you know, a huge crowd there, but articles like this is it's basically just priming people and prepping people for what would be a false flag. Like, what are you possibly going to do going down to the border to actually help National Guard or to help the good guys win in this
It was
case?
very different than the Turk convoy where they're basically locking down all around Canadian Parliament and saying, we're going to make your life so difficult because you have made our life so difficult. I mean, I don't really see the same symbolic thing. I understand wanting to show your support, obviously wanting to do something. I like the idea of call to action, but ultimately, anyone I know who knows about this has started being like, feds everywhere.
Yep. And a lot of people think it's going to be J6 all over again.
I feel like that about anything where there's any amount of protests now, right? Because it's not a matter of who goes; it's a matter of who controls the media narrative around what happens, right?
But I don't think the media narrative matters as much as people think. I'm well beyond this. Like, we just saw digital media implode over the past few weeks, and it's been in freefall for the past couple of years. One of the worst days ever. They got to call it like Bloody Thursday or something. How many layoffs there were this week?
Yeah, Taylor Lorenz's video of her complaining about all of it. I mean, they're laying people off during election season. You know, election riders as well. Which is insane.
Okay, so though, let's just say this point that the convoy apparently is not as big as it normally is, so it kind of blew it out of proportion. It is February 1st. It is 2024, and things are happening. So whether it's a big convoy or a small convoy, it's a convoy. Probably not as big as Ottawa. Apparently, that is being a little bit blown out of proportion, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All I know is that it's blown all over the internet right now, and truckers, cars, whatever vehicle you are in, they are heading there. And whether it's big or not, it is a convoy, and whether they're going to help or not, it's going to help the Patriots also move this this movement that we are going to rebel against, not just America, all over the world. So America is leading the way simply because we need to follow the power structures, and you are the power structures, but it looks like you're being controlled by the you-know-who, you-know-what. So let's leave it as that, and listen to what Tim Cass has to say about the convoy.
But I have a problem with, people not attending. Like, I understand protests. I understand the point of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not hyper effective, especially after January 6th. But everybody has essentially been neutered after January 6th. And I was there on January 6th, so I understand the ramifications.
But look, I'm not saying don't protest, don't organize, don't get together, don't have assemblies. I'm saying don't go up against CBP on federal jurisdiction during a conflict.
Well, and especially when Border Patrol has essentially sided with the National Guard in this situation. I think the protest was planned before the Shelby
union
Park
came
stuff
out,
happened. But now that this is actually going on, it does lead to more potential problems or
I don't
conflict.
buy it. And I don't care. in Arizona.
Because I don't buy it.
Arizona
I don't
border?
care.
A few times, not as much as
is
Eagle Pass,
CVP facilitating illegal immigration
though. Everywhere.
everywhere. So when they come out and they're like, no, we agree with Texas, and then they go, now keep the human smuggling running in Arizona. I'm like, I don't care. That you get no free passes. Yeah, they've realized they've lost in Texas, but they still got New Mexico, they got Arizona, they got California. So they're probably looking at it like, hey, we're a bunch of human smugglers. Texas is going up against us. If we go to war with them, it could screw the whole operation up. Let's call it a loss and then shift all the cartel operations to these states so we can keep getting our kickbacks or whatever it is they're doing.
Well, and the reality is they haven't even lost in Texas at this point. Just in the Shelby Park and Eagle Pass sector, which is where most illegal migrants do come through, because 15 miles upwards, you're still having, illegal migrants cross this area. So it's still happening. You're just not seeing these massive groups, but they're still allowing people to be processed. And there are rumors that, any immigrants that are being, basically detained by National Guard are essentially being handed off to CBP. There are some videos out there. So it could still just be, it could just be for looks, which would be a shame, but I don't think it is that in this case. But they need to do this for all of Texas, the entirety of the Texas border, if they're actually serious about stopping illegal immigration completely.
I think when we see the actions of a lot of people on the right, I shouldn't say the right, but there are people who claim to be anti-establishment, who in 2 seconds jumped ship and went full on establishment at a moment's notice. And I wonder what would happen if a civil war actually broke out. And I genuinely believe Texas, something kicked off between the feds. First, people should understand this. When we had Eric Prince on the Culture War show, shout out to him, Friday mornings, 10 a.m., he said, I asked him, like, do you see in the United States similar things to these countries you've been in? And he said, the one thing I can tell you is that everybody I know who's been in these countries, they said it happened overnight. One day you went to bed, everything was fine, you woke up, the internet's out, electricity's out, you have no idea what's going on. And that's true in region. What is also true is that most places, it'll be nothing. What'll happen? You're in New York, right? You'll go down to your bodega to get to get a turkey with American cheese and a Kaiser. Oh man,
is that what they eat out there?
I used to. So I would get whenever I would go to the bodegas. Yeah, I'd be like turkey, white American, yellow American, mayo, Kaiser, heat it up, so good. I love my bodegas. But you're gonna be there, and you're gonna see the clerk who your neighbor, and you're gonna be like, and he's gonna be like, 13 more dead down at Eagle Pass. The fighting's getting crazy down there. And you'll go, wow, that's crazy. Anyway, you see the parade at the park? We're going to go check it out. You're going to be there later? All right, see you there. Mm-hmm. When I was I went to Ukraine in 2016 or 2017. And this is ongoing fighting happening in the Donbass region at the time, but it was limited skirmishes. Nobody in Kiev had said anything like it's whatever. And it was funny because when the fighting first kicked off, people were saying civil war. But then Donald Trump becomes president. The fighting starts simmering down, and I go there, my friend's like, we don't say civil war, it's just separatists fighting. And I'm like, fast. And it was completely out of buffet style, cabbage and beef, it was delicious.
We got a little bit of a flagging going on. What is
It's
up?
probably going to happen. Just
Internet's
like
going crazy.
We
What?
have different regions of the U.S. that aren't affected by it at all. It's just news to them. And a lot of people, they won't even hear about the news at all. They won't even understand that anything is going on. And then finally, you will have something crack that does affect the rest of the country. Yeah. But the way that the U.S. is set up and the way that our economy and everything else is set up in this country is it's not just going to, I don't think it's just going to be an overnight thing, blackout completely, all across the United States. And it very well could be. Eric Prince is a genius. I mean, he knows his stuff for sure. But the way that we're set up here in the U.S. is very unique compared to all these other regions that experience massive attacks like this.
If you're in these border regions where fighting breaks out, yeah, you're going to wake up with no electricity.
Yep.
I mean, the federal government's going to be like, we need to cut off their energy, we need to cut off their communications. You're going to wake up and have no internet, your phone's not going to work. And there's going to be a military insurrection act declared. There will be either Texas or federal military securing the area, saying everything's under control, go back inside your house, and you're not going to know who's who. Imagine you're in Texas, near Shelby Park, Eagle Pass, you're in the city or whatever, and an APC pulls up, and guys in military uniforms jump out. The average person can't tell the difference between National Guard and Army. And this guy just, they pull up, they park the trucks out, they're standing guard. You get out of your house, there's something going on, like, everything's cool, man, name's Jim, we're just doing security because there's been some conflict stuff going on, but you got nothing to worry about, have a nice day. Who is it? which faction is. You won't even know. It's like that the trailer for Civil War.
Yeah, what kind of American are you?
They don't know who he is.
Well, the most unrealistic thing about that is a Texas-California alliance.
No, that's totally realistic. The movie has Texas and California as their own countries, not as two countries working together. It is not one country with two states. Texas and California, both wanting independence, would align militaristically to defend their sovereignty. They wouldn't be operating under the same governance. So that makes it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
In the movie, they were flying like one flag, though.
With 2 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's like a NATO flag.
Yeah.
Here's my point. When I was saying earlier, you've got Florida, a lot of prominent conservative voices in Florida. If civil war or some kind of hot separatist action or whatever breaks out in Texas, I'm not saying it will, who knows, I guarantee you will get these right-wing personalities immediately saying, I'm on the side of Joe Biden.
Oh my God.
And I'm not talking about
Gotta be kidding.
right now, it's easy to be like, Texas is in the right. But if it comes to the point where Texas is in active, full-on bullets flying conflict, and federal agents are returning fire, and then the Insurrection Act is declared, and then Joe Biden he says...
All right. Well, I'm experiencing a lot of lagging right now. I don't know why, but it's just the way it goes when it comes to your internet provider. But
national audience.
I do go with the fastest, one of the fastest.
Which side will they find themselves on?
Provider, but
that's when you really
it's still
put
lagging.
people to the
So.
test.
Anyway,
The question is,
let's proceed.
who do you think's going to win? For some people, it's who do they want to win?
Yeah.
So there will be some media personalities, and I think the higher. I don't want to name anybody and put anybody on the spot, but there's some prominent personalities that are streaming on YouTube and Rumble that I fully imagine would be absolutely on the moral position, whether it is morally right or wrong, whatever anyone does, they're gonna stick to their guns. There's a handful of people I would imagine outright would just be like, "Hey guys, I'm with Joe Biden on this one." It'll be interesting to see.
Well, the people that don't have convictions and can hold themselves to their morals, they're going to be the side, siding with the federal government, essentially, siding with the big man, and that's really all that it comes down to. You side with the side that's in rebellion or he instates the Insurrection Act, you are now putting a target on yourself, and not a lot of people, especially commentators, are actually willing to go that far. They don't want documents like that.
I'll give you an example.
So,
Claire Lehman. Do you remember her?
off the top of my head, I don't think.
Whatever happened to that lady? Do you guys remember Claire Lehman?
No.
She was intellectual dark web. She runs Quillette. I believe she probably still does. She was of the, the intellectual dark web people were like post-liberal academics, thinkers, and media personalities that had been challenging woke orthodoxy and the establishment narratives. And so she's running Quillette, and Quillette was this publication that was like basically disaffected liberal, classically liberal. And then COVID happened. And Australia set up actual internment camps, were forcefully relocating indigenous people.
I remember that story.
And she came out in full defense of it. Why? She's living under the boot of an authoritarian regime. And so she's thinking to herself, I will go to prison and be locked up in a camp if I speak out against them. So the only thing I can do is be on their side. And I think you could see the cognitive dissonance and the shattering of her mind, because she knew. If I start calling out Howard Springs, we had that T-shirt, like come vacation to Howard Springs. Yeah. There's one story where 3 indigenous kids in a small community in the middle of nowhere, they came, took them under suspicion of COVID contact, brought them to an internment camp, and locked them up and said, you can't leave. They threw like blankets over the razor wire.
All right, just like I said, we're getting a little bit of lagging going on. And video capture, screen catcher. Should be so because the internet provider is pretty strong. So I don't know why it's doing that. So anyway, so what I'll do is finish up. I'll try to finish up Tim Cass's podcast right here too. But if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna let's just proceed on with the convoy right now. So the convoy is out and about, and whether it's going to be large or small, it is going to be a convoy. So if I were you, simply because it's getting closer and closer to the Great Awakening. People are starting to wake up. Besides, this will be on my Spotify as well too, so be sure to check out my Spotify, LAEntTV podcast, broadcasting. Okay, LA Entertainment TV podcast vlog on my Spotify as well as my YouTube channel. So I gotta suppress the algorithm. So we want to bring up the content by clicking like, subscribe, forward to everyone you know. It is free. I don't charge you because we are all on this together, especially the people who are still asleep but eventually are starting to wake up about the global system, who is really running the show and why they are scared out of their minds, because people are starting to wake up. And the convoy is just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come. Don't forget, Ottawa, Canada is the one who started with the Ottawa truckers. The truckers going to Ottawa 2 years ago, and how Trudeau was infiltrating the whole movement and closing your assets or whatever they do with his bank account, which is absolutely illegal. So we'll see what's going on with that. But there's a lot of things that's floating around of him in the past and what's going on with the whole Epstein Island or pig farming. You might want to do homework on that. I just got that sent to me later on, so I will definitely not put that on BombTube. I'll probably splice it on my YouTube, on my Spotify, and my other platforms, on my Instagram as well too. It's through LA Entertainment TV podcast vlog, and my Instagram as well too. And so anyway, so so we'll see how this convoy is going to make a difference. It is coming up in the weekend, so whether it's big or not, it is a convoy. All I know is that it's a little bit blown up out of proportion, but if it's good, that's good. But you still gotta stand up and support your patriots around the world. So it's not just us, but also what's going on in Europe. The farmers are banding up together because, like Carl Schwab said, you're gonna love eating bugs and you're gonna like it, or something like that, or I don't know, something like that. Or you're gonna rent or eat bugs and you're gonna like it. Who the heck does that guy think he is? That's absolutely crazy. But that's how crazy this world is getting to be, and how everybody is really starting to really wake up what's really going on with the Bidens, Brocks, and Bushes, and all the elites. Everybody's banding up to look at Snoop Doggy Dogg, for instance. Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg is now endorsement Trump. We got Meek Mills and all the other rappers. They're all going side Trump. So why is it so? Even The Rock. These are prominent entertainment, elite entertainments, whether it's Hollywood and singers, dancers, whatever. Something's happening. Okay, so something's happening behind the scenes, and people are starting to be aware of what's really going on in this world today, and who's pushing the buttons, who's moving the chess pieces. And I forgot, this is a chess match, not checkers. So anyway, I'll leave that today. Thanks for joining me today on the first day of February. Thanks for joining me, and I'll have more to come. Don't forget to check me out on my Spotify, LA Entertainment TV Podcast Vlogging, and on my YouTube channel, LA Entertainment TV Podcast Vlogging, as well as my Instagram and my TikTok. If you like politics, entertainment, have fun, check out all my social medias. I will have the links provided below. So thanks for joining me today on this February 1st. The convoy to Texas 2024 is on its way, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of days, whether it's going to be big or small or a bust. All right, guys, bye for now. God bless, Godspeed, and we will see you in the next podcast. Bye for now. Ciao.